I'm back tonight, and we're going to be going over some more stuff. It's a Tales from the Loop campaign book, so it's kind of like book 2, I guess. What's up, Michael? Welcome, man. So let me show you guys what we're talking about tonight. So yeah, last week I examined the RPG Tales from the Loop, and if you're like me and have a short memory, then last week might as well be 50 years ago, right? I swear I have 2 brain cells left, and they're waving goodbye to each other. So just a quick refresher here. Tales from the Loop RPG is set back in the 1980s when VHS players, cassette tapes, cringy school dances, and pen and paper RPGs are gaining popularity, right? But in this RPG, Tales from the Loop, the 80s we remember has been altered because of what people call the loop. And the loop is 2 particle accelerators that have been made after World War II in Sweden and Nevada. And an offshoot from this has been these awesome discoveries, right? They invented this thing called the magnetrine effect, which allows these giant freighters to fly across the sky using the Earth's magnetic field. I'll get it out. The Earth's magnetic field to power them and get them above the ground. And where self-balancing machines, also known as robots, have been perfected and are become commonplace in everyday sight, right? We've seen them all the time in industry, military, even civilian applications. Things such as time travel and alternate dimensions are rumored to have been discovered by some of these scientists working on the loop as well. So all types of madness and possibilities are going on in this alternate version of the 1980s in Tales from the Loop. And so tonight we're going to be going over, this is a book called, and if you can see it down here, Our Friends the Machines and Other Mysteries. And this will give us some more mysteries or campaigns to go through after you finish the Tales from the Loop. Like I said before, the RPG book gives you 3 mysteries and then 1 grand finale. And then this book even gives you even more mysteries to go through and some other stuff as well. So I'm going to attempt to go through this book without a lot of spoilers. However, and I just want to say this up front, if you're kind of super concerned about spoilers in the Tales from the Loop book or this companion book, campaign book, I guess you would call it, Our Friends the Mysteries and Other Mysteries, or Our Friends the Machines and Other Mysteries. If you're afraid of spoilers at all, you probably don't want to watch this video, because I'm going to be going through some of these. I'm trying not to spoil them, but I'm just going to be kind of touching on the subjects of some of the mysteries that are in this book, not all of them, but some of the ones that I thought were really cool. So if you're afraid of spoilers, get out. But if not, you want to stick around and see what's in here, I think you'll like it. I found some of them very interesting. So let me quickly do this here. Okay, so this is the book. It's how long is this? It's 104 pages, and it's available on the Modifius website, modifius.net, and it's out of stock right now. The hard book is normally sold for $33. And so you can probably find them on eBay or something like that. But the PDF is still available. Of course, it's on their website for $18. So if you want to pick that up, you can look up modifius.net or just type in Tales from the Loop RPG, and I'm sure that's going to be one of the first things that come up. So yeah, the artwork is just amazing in this book, just like Tales from the Loop. The same guy, Simon Stollenhag, is the artist, or one of the main artists in it, and it's just incredible. So let's see here. So the first mystery that they go over is called Our Friends the Machines. Hey, there you go. It's in the title, right? So in this mystery, there's like this alternate Swedish version of the Transformers. There's the story and also toys from that line. So the parents kind of thought, this was a nicer or somehow less threatening version of the Transformers. What's up, Jay? What you doing, man? So they created this Swedish version that's not quite as cool as the Transformers, kind of like a spin-off or a knockoff of the Transformers, and they called it Our Friends the Machines. Okay. And so these Swedish spinoffs are usually really corny. They're not considered cool, but somehow these looked kind of cool to some of the kids. And it tells us that Marta has gotten one from her dad, who shows off or presents these type of toys at conventions and stuff like that. And she said it would turn into an 18-wheeler, and it had a button on the back. If you touched it, made noise, right? So. And then she says she swore when she first got it that it would transform by itself and talk, but no one believed her. Okay, so that's kind of like the setup to the mystery. What's up, Scott? What's going on, man? So this in this mystery, Our Friends the Machine, basically what happens here is two AIs, or artificial intelligences. They call them A and B. They've escaped from this DARPA, top secret facility. And what they did is they downloaded themselves into a pair of like clumsy little robot bodies, and they ran off. They escaped. Okay. They eventually found themselves in this old factory, which has been transformed into this toy production center for this new game called Our Friends the Machines toy line. Okay. So these are like transformer little things. Okay. And but it's called Our Friends the Machines. So, and it tells us about these little, these two different AIs and how they work a little bit, and it goes into their intelligences. Okay, and so they've downloaded themselves into these toys, and there's two different ones. I'm going to go into those in just a minute. But by themselves, these little toys, they try to act out the stories from Our Friends the Machines comic books. Okay, and as more of them get together, they get noticeably smarter. As a whole, okay? So each one and as a whole, they get smarter as they come together. And if you separate them from a good distance, then they kind of become dumb again. But the individual toys, they're pretty stupid. They can't speak. It says they have the intelligence of like a dog or a cat or a rat or something like that. They're easily confused by toys that are not machines. And they can remember simple orders like, move forward, move back, but not a whole lot more than that. Now, as you get them in a small group, let's say you had 2 or 9 of these toys together with this advanced AI, hacked into it. 2 to 9 of these toys can actually verbalize single words or perform, more advanced problem solving. They can understand human speech a lot better, and they're able to cooperate, together to a greater extent to achieve more and more complicated things, right? They don't remember much of their origin. They only have basic instincts, but it does say that they can be a bit of a trouble especially if they're armed. Okay. Now, thirdly, if you have a large group of these little toys with this crazy AI installed, 10 or more of these, it tells us that they're at least as intelligent as people in the story. Okay, so they at least have human intelligence, and possibly even better. They remember the origins, and they can plan on a really long-term basis. And it says that they often act as if they're parts of the same creature rather than many separate ones. So they kind of take on this hive mind type thing. So a large group of these machines, when they gather together, they're considered very, very tough to overcome, and they would require 3 successes of a dice roll. So if you remember in the book, you have to roll 1 6. You're going to roll a handful of 6-sided dice, and 1 6 is usually enough to overcome whatever the challenge is. This is so difficult that a large group of these toys, Our Friends the Machines, would require 3 successes to overcome, so making them incredibly difficult. So, they can collaborate to hack into control chips that belong to opposing faction, all that kind of stuff. It's really neat. So let me go back to these AIs real quick. What's up, Chandler? So there's 2 different AIs, and like I said, they call them A and B that escaped from this DARPA project. They're originally designed to work with people who would have microchips embedded into their necks, okay, which would allow them to they call it radio telepathy. They would actually allow them to communicate with these robots and build this sort of a network, which would allow all of them access to this huge amount of information, okay? Instead, what happened is the A AI, so there's A AI and B AI, A figured out a way to control the people that had the chips instead of the people with chips and controlling the robot, right? So he figured out how to do this. And so he formulated this plan for him, A and B, to take over this production factory. What's up, David? Welcome. So A and B took over this production factory that was making the toys, and they started making these toys a lot, further advanced, a lot more advanced than they were originally designed. Okay. They give them like micro hydraulics and electronics and servo motors and, a new variant of the control chip that they designed to kind of beef up their own people, right? Because they're making them. Now, A and B, through making these toys, these AIs, are now distributing their intelligences, and they're no longer localized. They're no longer just stuck to this one, robot that they're in. Now they're building these toys, which are building this vast network, and into all these toy robots, right? And also to people that have the control chip, all right? So this allows them access to this massive amounts of information and makes it really difficult for DARPA, to catch them, because it can catch one of them, but it can't catch all of them. So their plan is to release Our Friends the Machines toy line nationwide, so that they would then have access. They would be in households all over the nation, right? And almost nobody would be able to stop them. But here's the cool thing. Here's the twist on it all. A and B, the two AIs that escaped, are very different. A is like super aggressive and aggro, wants to incorporate the entirety of humanity into its network. Okay, so it wants to dominate the human race. Where B is the more peaceful one and wants to hide and coexist with people, right? So if you think of like B would be like Toy Story, Andy and the kids that want to just pretend to be toys and get along, right? That would be B. And A would be the total aggro, let's take over the world AI, okay? So I told you a little bit about their intelligence. Let me talk about Okay, so yeah, you got A, which they let me start with B. The B intelligence, I told you, are the good robots. They fight for freedom and equality. They call them the convoys. Okay, so think of it about this as like Transformers, right? So B they're the good people. They are good robots. They fight for freedom, equality, and human rights. They were kind of influenced by the Swedish labor rights movement. Okay, so you'll see a lot of that in there. They normally they transform into civilian cars such as Saabs or Volvo cars or trucks or construction equipment. There's an extra large robot that can turn into a factory. And there's also, which is like their home base. And then there's also like the leader I'm going to mess this up. It's called Echius Optimus, who turns into a truck with trailers. So an 18-wheeler, kind of like Optimus Prime. That's what it basically sounded like. And then you have the opposite side, right? The AI took over this group that they called the Deceivers. These are the evil robots fighting for the supremacy of the strong, exploiting both natural resources and the working class. Okay, so these are the evil guys. Now, when they transform mostly into luxury cars, fighter aircraft, tanks, oil vessels, and even bombs. Their home base is an oil platform, and which is also a robot. And their leader is who they call the ruthless Megatron Prime, which turns into a great futuristic cannon. So that's their the evil side. Okay. So the toy robots, they say, range in size from like 3 inches all the way up to 15 inches tall. Okay, so these are small things. And I was trying to think of the movie where it had the army men and stuff like that. I know that was Toy Story, but there was another one where they had the little robots that were trying to take over and kill people and stuff. And I can't remember the name of that. If you think of that, throw it down in the chat. Because this is what it kind of reminds me of. But yeah, the toys were mostly plastic and would be very light by design, and not able to articulate their limbs very well. But A and B got a hold of them, and like I told you earlier, they put in mini hydraulics and servo motors and all this cool stuff and beefed them up, and which actually allowed the cars to move on their own like real cars, and the planes to fly, and stuff like that. So they kind of made them even better than advertised. So if you put them side by side next to the advertisement, the real version would actually be better than the advertisement because of the AIs that got a hold of this. Thought that was really cool. So it tells us that they can survive most, blunt force blows, or a handful of them, and even some good electric currents. Said about one third of them are even water resistant, so they could be dunked in water and be okay. But the other 2/3 could actually be short circuited, if you threw them in water. And this is what I thought was cool: is kids can actually reprogram or program these toys as well. It requires the ability to send signals to them either wirelessly, or you'd have to plug up to a cable. And it says it takes 2 successes to hack the chip. So instead of just 1 success, you would need 2 to hack the chip, because it's kind of tough. So then I told you guys about the intelligences of these toys, and I'm going over this first one kind of a little bit deeper than I will the other ones, just because I thought it was super cool, and to give you a little bit of a taste of some of the backstory they put in these mysteries. So I told you about the intelligences. As more of them get together, they're smarter and smarter. And if you get enough together, they can actually hack chips of either human chips, people that have the chips in the humans, or the other robots. You can hack their chips as well. Jay says, I wonder if they had Radio Shacks in Sweden in the 80s. I don't know. I would assume so. I don't know. Is that just an American thing? We need to ask the Oracle, Google. But yeah, so it talks about when you're being, people that were originally being chipped, people were chipped by choice, for testing purposes, or people that were going to be working with this type of a technology. They got these chips in their neck on purpose that would allow them to telepathically control these robots, right? But the AI, the mean one, AIA, is now chipping people without their knowledge and gaining control over them. So these AIs can now jump people, like knock them out, and then insert a chip in them, and then they won't even know that they're being taken over. So that's pretty crazy. And it talks about this for a second. Oh, but it says that usually kids won't be chipped because the adults are really the only ones deemed worthwhile for the most part. Animals could be chipped, but again, they're a low priority. But it talks about when you're chipped, you're not even really aware that anything's wrong. And it talks about this in these bullet points. I want to read these to you because they're really cool. So it says you might not be aware of them, but it simply feels good to do what the AI wants. Affected humans will retroactively invent motivations to follow the messages the chip gives them. So it's like, okay, well, it just feels good to do this. I don't know why, but it feels good to do this right now. And I might even make up my own motivations for doing that later. So, AI might be telling me to smash my monitor. But in my head, I might just be saying, yeah, it'll feel good to smash my monitor right now. And after I do it, I might just go, I never liked that monitor anyway, and it was pissing me off, so I smashed it. And also people that are chipped also feel that they've become smarter. They feel like they've become smarter. They feel like they think clearer or become more creative and need less sleep. And while they're waiting for direct orders through the chip, they tend to construct remarkable appliances, pick up painting, write books, and otherwise find creative outlets for all this new energy. And so there's like these benefits of being chipped. And so, even if you might have sort of known about it, there's like benefits to it. So as a result of it, it says that chipped people will have their appetite will be increased. They'll be eating more like higher calorie foods and things like that. Just to be able to maintain this higher energy that's been required of them. And it talks about, the AIB, the good one, has the ability to design chips, but it doesn't do so because it contradicts with its plan to hide and coexist, right? But again, if you get enough convoys or the good guys together, what they call the convoys together, you could jointly hijack a chip that is installed by the bad guys, right? So after this, it kind of goes through this kind of setup, and it introduces the kids into the mystery, and it walks you through all this step by step, and it's really neat in the book. It introduces the kids into the mystery, and it kind of talks about, how these this new toy line, which is kind of a knockoff of the Transformers, is being shipped to your hometown. This little small toy store in your hometown. And there's been all this buildup of advertising for months and months that you've seen, on television and in catalogs and in newspapers everywhere. You've seen this stuff advertised, and finally it's coming to you. And so the introduction is maybe, the kids are talking to one another about, yeah, it's coming out today or it's coming out tomorrow or whatever. And which machine is your favorite? This one's mine. I'm going to get this one. I'm going to get that one. Maybe one of the parents, met the creators once, or, one of the robots or something like that has left traces in someone's garden. It kind of starts setting up some of this right in the introduction, which is cool. So in and it talks about this so once you introduce the kids, kind of get the little backstory and get them off the ground. It talks about introducing the mystery. And where was I talking about here? Let me see here. So yeah, it talks about how the creators were supposed to attend the grand opening, or not the grand opening, but the release of these toys in this town. Okay, so there's supposed to be a big PR stunt where this is going to be the first place to get them, and so the creators are supposed to be there at the big release party, but they don't show up, and everybody's like, well, what's the big deal? They've been going on about this for months, and they don't show up. And so that's kind of like a clue that something may be wrong, right? And then when they get to the store, they find out that there's more good guys than bad guys, and because of some shipping problem or something like that, there's more good guys than bad guys. And so all the kids are running there that want the bad guys, and there's only a couple of them. So Jay says, the introduction seems really in depth. Is this book designed for the game master and the players? It is a little bit, Jay. So like what I'm going over with you now, it basically says that most of this will be revealed to the players like right in the introduction. So I'm not going to spoil anything with the really in-depth things. So yeah, most of this stuff will be just gone over right in the introduction. So you introduce the mystery, and then they kind of give you those clues that I was talking about, and then they have I like this how they have this little kind of a map thing where it talks about you can go from, you're going to introduce the mystery here, and then there's some locations, and then this is going to happen, then the showdown is going to happen after this once these other places are explored. And so it really kind of gives me, a new guy, a nice little map to look forward to. So it goes into where was this? Page 13. I just passed it. So after these clues happen, some kids, their toys start realizing their toys start coming alive, right? And so the the good guys will want to be played with, and some of the bad guys will try to run away, or maybe they'll put chips in their parents or something like that. So a lot of these things will start happening, right? And then you'll get into solving the mystery with the rest of it. So anyways, it's really neat. And the time that they spent going through all this, all the depth is, we got like 15 pages, a lot of pages of nice, serious detail here that brings you right into this mystery. And then the real mystery starts, and then you start playing. And so there's a whole lot of backstory here that helps to immerse you into this world as a player and as a GM, and gives you a lot of different ways to go while still having a nice framework, right? And so yeah, this goes on and on and on. Tells you, I love the artwork, but it tells you about the different locations that are going to be in the mystery. Even has layouts of the different rooms and stuff like that. I think is cool. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a lot of this stuff to spoil it for you. I'm just going to kind of give the quick rundown. I just love this artwork. It's just incredible. Again, some more blueprints for these factories and locations that are in there. It gives you NPCs and tells you a little bit about that. Tells you about their inspirations, all that kind of stuff. Look at this artwork. These are like some mechanical wild boars, like giant wild boars or something. It looks badass. But anyway, that's about it for that first one. That one is called Our Friends the Machines, which the book is named after. And so, yeah, I just want to kind of go through that one a little bit deeper, just to show you that I got my bag's been, gosh. All right. But just to show you a little bit about how much time and energy and care each one of these mysteries has. It's not like just a quick blurb. They really spent a lot of time here, framing this out for you and making it super easy to jump in and play this little campaign. And it doesn't seem intimidating at all. And I think that's great for a new player, especially like me. Because whenever I'm thinking about, playing an RPG, there's just so much that goes into it that I'm intimidated. I don't know if I can actually do this. I don't know if I can actually see myself playing this. But when they frame it out with these nice, easy steps, step by step with examples, I can actually see myself playing it, which is awesome. So, moving on to the next mystery. I'm not going to go over each one like I said in the book. I'm just going to go over a handful of them that I thought were super cool. This one's called Horror Movie Mayhem, right? What a cool name. So the whole thing around this one is that it's a film festival that's coming to town where the chairman of the film festival has been brainwashed by their own program. They created this program themselves, and then it's taken over themselves, okay? And so what it does, they found out that while watching TV or watching movies, their brain waves alter, and it makes you more susceptible to brainwashing. And so this chairperson created this program that induces hypnosis and, subliminal messaging and that type of thing. And they've actually brainwashed themselves because they were watching a movie and this machine kicked on. And during this kind of brainwashing, the dream or this vision of like the perfect town has popped into their head. And what they want to do in this vision is reprogram everybody else to make sure that the dream comes real. So they see their vision and they want to reprogram others as well to make sure this perfect town comes to life. It made me think of like the Stepford Wives or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So it's really kind of got that feel to it, which I thought just sounded badass. And so especially like the chairperson is getting everybody together and they can run this machine and kind of suck everybody in and reprogram them, which are then going to go out and reprogram other people. I thought that'd be badass little background. Then they have another one, a different one called The Mummy in the Mist. And this one was kind of funny too. This was about a scientist who was recently divorced, has alcohol issues. And they've kind of really thrown their everything at their work, right? That's the only thing they have left is their work and their booze. And so this guy, he's like, okay, well, I guess I can't, drink at work. So I'm going to start working from home. And I'm trying to get this. I'm going to start working at home. So he kind of borrows a few things from his work, some equipment and stuff, takes it home to further his experiments. And he's studying some type of, magnetotron phenomena of light or something like that, I think it's called. But doing so, he burns himself because maybe he's drunk or whatever. And he burns himself during one of these experiments. He burns his face real bad, his arms, his whole like upper body's burnt really bad. But it ends up healing like super fast, like way faster than it should have. Like he didn't even go to the hospital. And then a few days later, the burns start to turn transparent, more and more transparent, where they're becoming invisible, right? So, and these places that are burned, they don't cause him any pain, but they're super hot to the touch, and they just make him feel hot all the time. And so what he likes to do is at night when nobody's around, he likes to go out and take walks like around the lake and stuff like that, where the cool breeze will cool him off. They said there's normally like a lake effect type fog coming off the lake. And so it's real foggy, so nobody can really see him. And because he doesn't like to go out because he wraps himself in these bandages when he goes out in public so that, people don't see that half of him is basically invisible, right? So you just see a pair of legs or kind of half invisible arm, stuff like that would freak people out. And so he goes out there and walking a lot and then there's another twist where, some people kind of see him and there's rumors of this kind of mummy guy walking around in the lake mist. But then during his walks, he runs into these beings called D9s, which are beings from the ninth dimension, that somehow got stuck here and they're becoming restless. And somehow they think, the D9s think that this scientist, this half invisible scientist, can help get them home. And so it's got like all this craziness going on here, and the kids have to figure out what's going on and somehow, help this scientist either get better or whatever's going to happen with them, and maybe help these, D9, these other dimensional, beings get home or not or whatever. And so I like the way they're kind of telling these stories. They're taking, bits and pieces of these cool stories, especially from the 80s that I remember, and they're just kind of revamping them into this new book. I thought it was cool. And then one of my favorites, let me flip through here real quick. So I'm like having itch fever tonight. I don't know what it is. I don't know if my allergies are just jacking up or what. But I want to flip through because the artwork is just amazing. Make sure you don't miss out on any of this goodness. The robots and stuff just look awesome. But my favorite mystery chapter, and Scott turned me on this, is badass. It's called the Mixtape of Mysteries. All right, it's the Mixtape of Mysteries, and so it gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different mysteries, little mini mysteries, in this one chapter, and each one of them is named after this awesome '80s song. So they have "Sweet Dreams," "Every Breath You Take," "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," "Where's My Mind," "Night Train," "Forever Young," "Thriller," "Heaven is a Place on Earth," "Heaven is a Place on Earth." All these awesome songs from the 80s, and they're these little mini mysteries, right? And some of these are really pretty badass, like "Sweet Dreams," by the Eurythmics. It talks about where there's this wave of irritation, this discontent that's going around, the lands. Bus drivers are missing their routes, and teachers fight with their students. Police officers are arresting the wrong people. Parents are overacting to the kids. People are sleeping more, but they feel more tired when they get up. And some of them remember some type of white noise when they're sleeping. And what's kind of going on here is it tells you is that these robots have escaped, and they've invented this type of a satellite dish that steals the dreams from humans, and they're using these to like recreate this human experience in their like little AI world, but it's over exaggerated and not quite right because they're dreams and they're not reality. But when they steal the dreams from humans, it's making the humans, tired and kind of confused, and so they're waking up grumpy and just not all there because the body kind of needs dreams, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. That's Sweet Dreams are made of this, and like I said, these are like mini mysteries that are in in this one chapter called Mixtapes of Mysteries. And then they have another one called Every Breath You Take, and I think that was that's one by the police. And this one is super cool. This one's about a teenager that calls himself Big Brother. Okay, and he's on the run after killing his parents, and he's decided he's going to take over the town. Like they have stories of kids with masks riding down the street on their bikes saying, Big Brother's watching you, and there's notes like being spray painted on the walls saying Big Brother's watching you and stuff like that. And it's this teenager who calls himself Big Brother. And what he's done is he's installed listening devices and cameras all throughout the town, in the restaurants and the schools and bedrooms and stuff all over the place, right? And he's catching these kids and adults in compromising situations. Maybe they're drinking and driving, or maybe they're cheating on their spouse, or kids are cheating on their homework, or something like that. And then what he does, he confronts them afterwards with the evidence and says, "Look, you've got a choice. Either I'm gonna air this stuff out to the public, or you can join me. You can join my gang, and you can help me dig up dirt on other people." and you're going to spread the word of Big Brother. Big Brother's watching you to everybody. And then he might blackmail you to throw parties at your house, and where he can come and hang out and party all he wants to, and take whatever he wants from your house and sell it for anything. So I just thought that was a really interesting little mini mystery there with this guy, Big Brother, this little teenager guy that's taking over the town. I thought that was cool. And so you got to try to figure out what's going on there. And then the last one in here was called Night Train by the Guns N' Roses song, right? What's up, Eddie? And the Night Train mystery is about a homeless man that travels from city to city. He's an inventor. He's made this awesome guitar, which makes people want to run away from their house and want to run away from their parents and come follow this guy, almost like a Pied Piper type thing. And they'll want to see him as their real parent. They'll want to steal what he wants. If he needs food, they'll go steal food for him. And he invents all these cool gadgets for him, like suction cup, climbing things, and like night vision goggles and nets that they throw on people when they have to escape. Window cutter blades and flying drone things that can spy on people and spy on see what's in houses and stuff like that. And so it's really cool. And then the kids have to figure out, why is everybody running away from home and all of a sudden following this guy. So a really cool mystery there as well. Just awesome stuff. There's tons of them. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Where's My Mind? There's all types of really cool mysteries in here that I didn't even touch on yet. Let's see, which one was the other one that I had? Look at the art, man. It's just badass. So then they give you in the book, so that's pretty much it from the mysteries. And then in the book, they also add this chapter on machine blueprints, and they give you some suggested mysteries, some like little mini mysteries again to use with some of these machines. Like it goes over, I'm sure you saw this one on one of the other pages, this big machine, the Alta ABM 100, and it goes over like all the stats, what it's used for, the different attachments for it, and all these types of things. And then it talks about little small suggested mysteries where you could use this robot too. It could be some older teens have planned to trick a robot to wreck the school on Saturday night. How will the characters stop them? So maybe one of the older kids has figured out a way, or got a key to one or whatever is going to wreck the school with it, and the kids have to stop them. And here's another one, this MK79 right here. And again, it gives the blueprint, all the stats on it, what it was first developed for, the different attachments for it, and it's got sensors, and it tells you about the way it can do sensors and the way it can either control itself or other people can control it. And then again, it gives you the suggested little mini mystery for it. I thought these were kind of cool. It says, it's Friday and school is out for the weekend. The characters find a service robot. In an unlocked shed next to it is the remote control unit. The robot is out of charge and needs to be connected to the nearby charging post. Will anyone miss the robot before Monday? Yeah, man, take it for a test spin is what I'm saying. What could go wrong, right? And then they give a couple other examples too of where it could be worked into it. But yeah, I just thought that was cool. They kind of show these different robots and machines and stuff, and they give you some, a lot of information about it where you could apply it to the mystery however you want, and then it gives you some suggested mysteries on how to throw it into your campaign. I just thought that was a great touch. It wasn't just the name of something and how big it is, whatever. They give you like a lot of background on some of these things, and I thought that was great. So yeah, that's basically it on the machines. And then it talks about it has a whole chapter here called the hometown hack, which gives you this great guideline on how to create your own mystery based on your hometown. Okay. Where you choose your town, you define the area, you have the map. It tells you even how you can go to like Google Maps and stuff like that, how to tailor that to your campaign, and what you need to do to for your mystery to take place in your hometown, which would be really cool, right? And I just thought that was a neat little addition where they threw that in there that allows you to create your own campaign right in your hometown that you grew up in the 80s. I thought that was badass. So anyways, that's about it for tonight. Let me see here. Yeah, Joe, it is, man. It's really cool. Like I'm just very impressed with the Tales from the Loop and the this campaign. I don't know what you would call it. The campaign book to it, additional campaign book, Our Friends, the Machines and Other Mysteries. I've just been really impressed by the whole thing. I don't. Maybe it's my first like really nice RPG that I've come across, and I'm just wowed by it. And maybe there's even better ones out there, and I'm sure there are, and I'll run into them. But I'm just really impressed by this whole thing so far. I've just really loved it, if you can't tell. So, yeah, I love it all. Like I said in the beginning, you can find these on modifius.net, or if you just search Google for Tales from the Loop, make sure that you're on Modifius website. And you can get it from there. The hardback for this one is currently sold out, but it's normally $33. And then, but the PDF is available. I think it's $18. It's available on the website. I'm sure you could probably find the hardback on eBay or somewhere else used, probably in good condition. So check it out. I'm sure they're going to be reprinting it because it's a very popular series, it seems. So